Support for the Lancast is provided by Winding Way Books, Ryan Hess, and Pennsylvania College of Art and Design.
Welcome to the Lancast. I'm David Moulton.
And I'm Becky Svensson. On this episode of the Lancast, we travel to Burlap and Bean Coffee Shop in Newtown Square, Pennsylvania to record with Jenny and Tyler Summers of the aptly named musical act Jenny and Tyler before their show that evening.
Jenny and Tyler are definitely no strangers to music, and they both share about growing up in musical families.
Musicals. You guys used to sit around the piano and sing musicals.
We did. I thought every family did that, and then you don't. They don't.
Pretty unique, yeah.
We also learn about some of the creative processes behind the duo's lyrics.
And like I said, with the first couple records, we didn't really know what we were doing. We were kind of just having fun, and so the songs were topically in a lot of different places, and there wasn't this uniting theme like there is with the past few records.
Enjoy the conversation. Jenny, Tyler, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Let's learn a little bit about your individual backgrounds behind in music. You want to go ahead, Tyler?
Yeah, man. I came from a pretty diverse background. My dad plays jazz piano. He's also a classical composer and a choir teacher at a high school and middle school and a church organist. So a lot from him. And then my mom really likes Barbra Streisand and Barry Manilow, but the two of them come together in folk music, in Simon and Garfunkel and James Taylor especially. So yeah, it was very diverse. My dad and I recently have been connecting a lot over classical music, but growing up it was all over the place.
So what did they start you off with instrument-wise?
Well, they forced me to play piano from probably age 5 to 11, and I wish I had kept with it. I was a really stubborn kid, and man, that's an understatement. I was really, really stubborn, and I wanted to sort of differentiate myself from my dad, at least in some way by playing a different instrument other than piano, because that's his main instrument. So I started playing guitar at age 9, and it was mainly Nirvana, Eric Clapton, and popular songs like Closing Time, and yeah, other things like that in middle school. So yeah, pretty interesting. Take it, I guess, as that.
Yeah. I grew up in a family that listened to a lot of bluegrass and country music, so very different from Tyler. My dad plays and now makes mandolins, and my mom, we all had family nights where we would sit in a circle and sing, which was really fun, and then dance around and stuff. And I was in a band with my brother. But in high school, I focused a lot on clarinet, actually, and I was going to major in that at the University of Delaware, but decided not to. But yeah, I draw a lot of my songwriting and stuff definitely from bluegrass and country music. I say to Tyler sometimes, I'm so sorry I write country songs. And he's like, it's okay.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything to be ashamed of.
Yeah.
Yeah, you forgot to mention, I forgot to mention, Sandra McCracken's playing right now. That's awesome.
It's my favorite.
Sandra is Jenny's favorite songwriter, probably, right?
Yeah.
Or up there, for
up
sure.
There.
Musicals. You guys used to sit around the piano and sing musicals.
We did. I thought every family did that, and then you don't. They don't.
Pretty unique, yeah. So okay, I should have explained this, but it started with Nirvana and 90s songs, and then it went to Jack Johnson when I was a freshman in high school through probably sophomore year of college.
Yeah, for 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, so it took a lot to get out of my Jack Johnson mode. So if you listen on the first few records, you can definitely hear the Jack influence. And then recently, it's been just folk music. Bunch of different styles of folk music.
Well, I know the big thing here is, Jenny, is he still stubborn?
Oh, yes.
You're stubborn,
I know we
too.
both are.
How did we get to the point where you two meet each other and start to make music together?
We met 7 years ago at the University of Delaware. We actually met on a bus that was taking students from campus to a local church. And it was my first Sunday at school, and I remember it very vividly. Tyler was waiting at the bus stop, and he was wearing khaki shorts and an olive green T-shirt, and he had some highlights in his hair at the time. And I thought he was pretty hot stuff, so I sat behind him on the bus, and he turned around and introduced himself. And we talked for a little bit and then kind of went our separate ways at church. But I got involved in the Baptist student ministry, which he was already involved in. So we started leading worship together and singing and writing songs. And finally, after 3 months of hanging out all the time, Tyler came to his senses and decided that he liked me back. So we started dating. And
It's true.
yeah, it was a good time.
We had a DTR, which
Yes.
stands for Define the Relationship.
Yes.
Yes.
But he did, actually, a funny thing is that, like, I have such a great memory of this this bus ride, and so I asked Tyler to write a song about it because I thought it was such a cute story. And so he wrote me this song, and he played it for me, and it wasn't any good. And I was like, Tyler, why isn't this good? And he confessed that he does not remember meeting me on the bus at all, which was kind of
That was
kind of a
definitely
bummer.
part of the bad songwriting for that song.
Well, it explained a lot, you know,
Yeah.
if you don't remember it.
Yeah.
But he made up for it.
Most of our songs we have experienced
Yeah.
personally.
Yeah.
I think pretty much all of them we've experienced personally. Yeah,
Are
except
you going to write a song about the Lancast?
oh man, pressure's on.
Hey, we do nothing but bring the pressure. That's what we're all about.
Yeah.
Hard pressing issues, for sure.
I'll say probably not, but there's a small chance if something happens here that is spectacular,
Explosions.
then possibly. Yeah.
All right. We'll let it slide.
So you mentioned that both of you had quite interesting backgrounds in music individually, and you were at school, maybe you were interested in pursuing music, but did you see yourself as musicians, and how did you get to the point where you started to actually play together? Whose idea was that? How did that happen?
Well, we started playing music together even before we had the DTR. So Jenny would back me up with harmonies, and I would back her up, and we'd write songs together and lead worship together. And
It was just a very natural thing, you know. We never really said, let's do this together. It was just when we hung out, that was what happened.
it was music was probably the biggest common thread besides Jesus.
Yeah.
And so we decided to cash in on that sort
Yeah.
of. Cash in, that's not a good way to say it, but make the most of that.
Yeah.
That's something interesting I find about the two of you is you back each other up. It's not like one person has all the leads all the time.
Yeah.
How did that evolve? I mean, was that just natural that you guys kind of just were able to switch back and forth, or?
Yeah, actually, it's interesting. We spent a summer in Nashville in 2006 in between school, and we were down there, and Tyler wanted to do some recording, and I wanted to, and we both had like 5 songs, and we just sort of said to each other, well, you know, you have 5 songs, I have 5 songs.
5 decent songs.
Yeah, 5 decent songs.
We had written a lot more than that were pretty horrible.
Right, yes. And we said, you know, why don't we just make a CD together? And that's when I guess the duo thing actually happened. And so, yeah, from the beginning, it's sort of been that way. We each write separately, and then we help each other finish songs. But generally, you sing lead on the songs that you write. I mean, that's not always true.
Have we ever?
Yeah, Faint Not you wrote, and
Yeah. Has there ever been a song that you've wrote that I've sung?
I don't think so.
Okay. One day.
One day.
We await it.
But yeah, I mean, that's kind of how that happens. It was never really like a conscious decision, but I mean, we are very mindful of that now. Like when we make a record, we don't want it to sound like, oh, this is Jenny's record or this is Tyler's. We want it to be very equal.
So speaking of songwriting, I was wondering, what is it like to write songs while you're on the road? You're touring, you're from Nashville, but now you're in Pennsylvania.
We don't write as much on the road as we would like to. It's really easy to just get kind of, I guess, caught up in the busyness and the shows. And for us, like for me anyway, it's really important to take time to write, set aside real time to just kind of journal and meditate and be inspired. So I don't write a whole lot when we're on the road. I do keep a journal and then a lot of times draw from that when we are home. What about you, Tyler?
Jenny and I write pretty differently. I usually have a melody or a few ideas or several ideas going on at one time, and it's just a matter of similar to what Jenny said, taking time to nurture those ideas. And so sometimes that happens on the road, but it's pretty rare because normally we're not in the best state to
every
songwrite.
Once in a while, Tyler will break out the mandolin while we're driving, and we'll sing songs and
mess around a little bit. Yeah.
How are the acoustics in your car?
Oh, they're great. It's fun. We drive a Honda Element, so there's plenty of space for Tyler. He can get out the whole guitar if he wants.
And stretch out my legs.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sponsored by Honda Element.
Well, what about the back end of the song? Like one of you will write the main part, and do you then carry it through and write the rest of the song, or do you start collaborating from that point?
Usually we collaborate. I mean, I don't play guitar well at all. So if, Tyler, I'll show Tyler songs and he makes them so much better, by throwing in interesting chords and things like that. Or a lot of times one of us
tweaking a melody.
Yeah. Or one of us will write a bridge to the other song.
Yeah, that's actually pretty common.
That happens a lot.
We'll write a couple verses and a chorus, and then the other person will put in a bridge.
Yeah.
Like actually in Carry Me, that's what happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then in Faint Not, what happened with that? You came up with a chorus of that song.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just very... we've come to a place where we understand that we have a personal relationship, but we also have a professional relationship. So we're a lot better at working together and critiquing each other's songs and accepting that criticism from each other, because we've learned how to do that in a way that doesn't offend the other person.
We're better, but we're still not great at it. It's very beneficial to have a third party who can
when we're recording and things like that,
because then we stay kind of better behavior when we have somebody else around. So
I don't know. Yeah. It's just easy to hurt each other's feelings when you're married.
We know what buttons to push.
Yeah, learning how to not do that.
Yep.
It's important.
Now, going along with that, is there anything that's easier because you're married about working together?
Well, we can play music pretty much whenever we want to. We don't have to schedule a time, although we
still do.
We still do sometimes. Yeah.
I say, too, I'm comfortable being honest with Tyler, so if I'm writing a song that's really vulnerable, it's because in the writing process, I think it's harder to, if I were co-writing with somebody, I think it'd be a lot harder to be super vulnerable, even though when you sing it on stage, when it's all done, that's easy. But having the conversation with somebody else, I think, can be harder. So having Tyler and knowing that he understands me and he's not going to judge me, I think is really helpful.
Well, it's just about time to go to break. But before we do, we're going to play one of two songs that we're going to play during the show. The first is Song for You. And one of the interesting things about the songs that we do have to play is one has Tyler leading and one has Jenny leading.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about Song for You?
Yeah, Song for You is the first track on this past project we did called Faint Not. And that whole project is about our journey of faith from not believing to believing to doubting. And so the first the first song is about not believing in God or in Jesus, but still being pursued by God. Actually, even like being really opposed to God, and yet still being wooed and pursued in a like a good stubborn way. Yeah, it's a love song. It's a divine love song.
All right, we're going to play Song for You, and we'll be back after the break.
My voice, you didn't know. I called, you had to go back to your little world where nothing is strange. You set out on your own. You said, I'm heading home, back to the life you know. Neatly arranged. I have done for you everything, my love. Hear my song for you. Well, I will not hold my tongue. It's late, you're getting cold. You try to keep warm, but you're alone. The dark streets are empty now, and the wind starts to blow. I have done for you everything, my love. Hear my song for you. I will not hold my tongue. Open your heart, for I have loved you from the start. I will never harm you. 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 Oh, come back. I will never harm you. So
Hey everybody, we're here at Penn Cinema to find out what everyone's been talking about. Excuse me, why do you choose Penn Cinema?
I like the seats. They're really comfy. They're a lot nicer than most other places. This is my house.
Oh, well, this place is great. I mean, it's popcorn. Got some, we got a slushy machine over there. We got 3 clocks. 3 clocks for the Lidditz, the Lancaster, and the Effort of Time, just in case, you don't know what time it is in your area. That's why I love this place. They think about everybody, very friendly.
Has a nicer environment.
It's clean and comfortable.
It feels independent. It doesn't feel like part of a system. Like, it feels like as big as it is and as polished as it is, that it feels independent,
Bigger screen, better quality.
So it's really close. It's very clean. We come here all the time.
What do you like about Penn Cinema?
The seats are my favorite thing. Very comfortable. On the rump.
3D IMAX, the whole shebang.
It has a down-home feel, and we love the atmosphere that Penn has created. He really tries to take into account what people want in a theater.
It's really clean, and the seats are really comfy.
Yeah, I like the seats. It's the best movie theater to come to.
Well, you've heard what they have to say. Now come see for yourself. Check out Penn Cinema for first-class movies in a first-rate theater. Located at 541 Airport Road in Lidditz, PA.
So Jenny and Tyler, you have just released your 3rd album?
Yes, sort of. It's actually a year old now, which is crazy. And it's Faint Not is our 3rd full-length record. We did a little Christmas EP back in 2009. But yeah, technically, I guess it's the 3rd
full-length,
full record.
Mm-hmm. Can you take us through the progression from your first album to where you are now?
Yeah. Well, we recorded a prelude in 2006, which seems like a long time ago. And we didn't really know what we were doing. We knew that we had some songs we wanted to record, and we decided to do it together. So that was done. It took us a year and a half to record a prelude with Tyler, behind his computer, editing and mixing and doing the whole thing.
I basically learned Pro Tools while doing that album.
Yeah.
Pro Tools is a program that you use for editing. It's pretty common in the music biz.
So it was very homegrown, very rough. And then our second record was This Isn't a Dream, and you hear a lot of Tyler's jazz influence in there, and then you hear my bluegrass influence as well. And that song, what would you say that record is primarily about?
Well, This Isn't a Dream. It's hard because the first 2 records weren't really, they didn't have a uniting theme.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say.
Yeah. But we still did a lot of that on our own, and actually learned, though, to have it mixed and mastered, which we didn't do with a prelude. Or maybe we had it mastered or something, but...
Yeah. So the first record, A Prelude, had a lot of jazz influence in it, and you can hear that when you listen to it. The second one was getting more towards the folk where we are, but still had some jazz and some bluegrass. And we feel like with Faint Not, the most recent one, we got really close to finding our sound, and with this new one that we just recorded, and it will probably be out in late February or early March, that we've
settled in.
We've settled in. Yeah, I think so.
It takes a few tries.
Yeah, and it, like I said, with the first couple records, we didn't really know what we were doing. We were kind of just having fun, and so the songs were topically in a lot of different places, and there wasn't this uniting theme like there is with the past few records. The most current one, Faint Not, and the Christmas one, it's about Christmas, so yeah.
When you talk about settling into your own kind of groove, is that something you want, or do you find excitement for kind of being all over the place and being able to experiment?
Well, I think we want a record that sounds like, oh, this is Jenny and Tyler, not Jenny and Tyler. You know what I mean? in the past, I think it was a little more that way. Like my songs
Explain
were,
that a little bit more.
Well, like Tyler's songs would be very jazzy, and then my songs would be the ones that were a little more kind of country-ish, pop-ish. I mean, they were both pop, but and I think we've just decided to make the music that we really want to make. With Faint Not, we just I think we'd been putting ourselves in a box, so to speak. Like we had this time where we said, oh, we don't want to be labeled as, like we struggle a lot with being labeled as Christian artists, or do we want to be labeled as, a secular artist, or what do we want to do? And so those 2 records, we were wrestling with that a lot, not wanting to be put in a box, and in doing that, we kind of boxed ourselves in. And so for Faint Not, we really just decided to write honest songs, honest music, and see what happens. And I think that genuine music is always going to win. And that's what we've done for the new one as well. And
True.
I just think, we've just started making music we really like, and as you mature as musicians, you settle into what you should be. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, stylistically, I think as our styles change, like the things that we like, will probably keep changing.
Yeah.
So we're settled into this alternative folk thing right now. Could be electronica rap. We'll see.
Yeah.
Dubstep. I can see that happening.
So Jenny, you mentioned not knowing if you were a Christian band or if you wanted to be, and feeling that box there. And when you interact with other people, other venues, and other people in the industry, did you feel that pressure from them too, or did you discover eventually that was more in your head maybe than you expected?
I think it was more in our head. Do you think that? I mean, I guess there is the pressure for people to want to know what you are. Well, are you guys a Christian band or are you not a Christian band? And I think at this point, we've definitely, in making the music that we really want to make, we're definitely being labeled as a Christian band more than we are not. But I think that the pressure came a lot from ourselves. Do you think that?
Yeah, I guess when we started, we thought that we'd play for all audiences, and what ended up happening over time was people recognized in our lyrics and in our, I guess primarily in our lyrics, that we had this theme, this Christian type of theme, and so we've ended up having probably 80. I don't know where this number comes from, but this is a guess. 80% of our audience is probably Christian, and 20% is not.
And I guess,
and that's cool, because that's just, those are the songs we're writing, and that's where we feel like we should be.
And I guess, bottom line, we don't have to choose the label. People are going to choose to listen to us, and does that make sense? Like, your audience chooses you rather than you choosing your audience. Does that? I don't know if that really makes sense.
It makes a little bit of sense, I think.
I'm going to have to think about that in my mind now.
In my fantasy, I must think about that.
My personal perspective on the album is I found you guys through Noise Trade.
Yeah.
And I generally, I have to say, have kind of shied away from Christian music. I grew up, listening to it and constantly having it to the point where I kind of grew cold to it.
Yeah.
And here I wasn't very familiar. This is actually the first album I ever got on Noise Trade.
Oh, cool.
Oh, man. How'd you hear about that?
I don't know.
It's like
I don't remember.
It's on Twitter a lot.
Yeah, it might have been on Twitter, or somehow it came and I was there and I, previewed it and I was like, so that's how I got it.
Sweet, dude.
So I probably may not have listened to it at that point in time had I been like, oh, this is a Christian band.
Yeah.
Then I downloaded it and a lot of the songs really spoke to me and I was able to relate to a lot, and that was just awesome for me. And then sharing it with my friends, they're like, is this a Christian band? And I'm like, they're talking about God, so I guess so. Yeah. And then they're like, you? What?
Yeah. And that's the thing. We want to be really accessible. I guess that's what it comes down to. And
yeah.
I
think, again, because people recognize it, that they're attracted to it, Christians, but we don't want to limit our audience to anyone specific. So, yeah, that's cool. We believe the songs can speak to anybody. regardless of what they believe. There's something about truthful lyrics. I mean, whatever you believe, that connects with your soul.
While we're on the subject of truthful lyrics, I'd like to talk about Carry Me. For me specifically, this is one I related to a lot. Where were you when you were kind of writing this in your life?
Well, I had sort of been, I have epilepsy, and so I had been through a year where I was having a really hard time with it, and the medication I was taking was kind of sinking me into a depression. It was very, like, energy sucking, I guess. And so I hadn't been writing very much because I just had been kind of down and not very inspired. And
you're sort of in a non-emotional state for a lot of that too.
Yeah. So I was at my favorite coffee shop, and I was thinking a lot about just grace and forgiveness, and how I'm so constantly, like, knowing that I need the Lord, but turning away and not seeking that, and then asking for forgiveness for all of these things, and I just realized that I'm going to continue to do that, and then continue to come back and ask for forgiveness, and the Lord is going to continue to offer it to me. I don't know if I explained that very well, but just the idea that grace is free and abundant was really, I guess that was kind of some sort of, what is the word I'm looking for? Like a aha moment.
Epiphany?
Epiphany. Yes. It was like I had an epiphany of decision to make it clear. And I think also I wanted it to be really clear that it wasn't Tyler who was singing that to me. And I don't know if people would have, some people probably would have still, most people may have gotten that it was supposed to be the voice of God, but I didn't want it to be like a romantic thing.
I don't think that occurred to me since it wasn't him, but it may have.
Yeah. I don't know.
Jenny, what was it like to share something that vulnerable in a song with other people? Is that something that's hard for you to do? Is there an element of fear, or is it very natural?
I think for me, songwriting is such a way that I process things and feelings that it has become very natural. And if I had any fears early on of sharing so much, Tyler has helped me get over that by encouraging me, and it feels really good to put things out there and kind of be free from it. And, I was nervous about, there's a song on a prelude, I think it's on a prelude, called Season, and it's very much about struggling with epilepsy and things like that, and other things too. But I had a lot of people email us still because they discovered this song, and they're like, my child is going through this, or I'm going through this. And so even though it's really hard, I feel like I need to do that. I feel like we need to make really honest music, because that's the stuff I'm attracted to the most. So I guess there's fear, but it's just what I feel like I should do, what we should do.
Well, you, Tyler, I know some of your songs can be deep too. How does it?
Yeah, I have a much easier time, I think, telling lots of people pretty intimate details of my life.
Yeah.
So it's not as much of a step to write a song that's very personal and play it to the masses, or what? Yeah, more than a few people.
Yeah.
So you've talked about some songs that are kind of more on the spiritual side of things and pretty deep, but are there any other elements that shine through in your songs?
Yes.
Yeah, we've written a lot of stupid songs. Some of those make the record.
Some of them do. Tyler wrote me a song about my cat, who, when we were dating, I had a cat in my life named Stuart, who I really loved, and Tyler's very allergic to cats, so as the relationship progressed, it became clear that I was going to have to make a choice. And so the song is about me giving up my cat, and it's called One-Eyed Cat because Stuart only has one good eye. And when Tyler wrote that line, he was writing it on the couch, and he's like, started playing it, and I was like, this is great. I've never thought of him as a one-eyed cat, but it's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, and that song is, it's definitely silly. It's got silly elements to it, but there's some much dumber songs we've written, like Coffee and Stop Staring at Me, Last in Gym Class, all of which we've released in some form, because when we're together, we're just pretty goofy.
One of the things we like to do is just write songs for each other, like just pass the guitar back and forth and write each other like silly songs. So it's fun when some of them are, we can share some of them. And
yeah.
Have you ever thought about doing children's songs?
We've thought about it.
Yeah, I
we've
think
been asked to do some too,
yeah.
but we don't have children yet.
We don't have a lot of experience.
Like
with
I
kids.
said, most of our songs are based
That'll
off
probably
experience.
change. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll probably do some sort of children's thing when we have that.
Yeah.
Have them, or it, or he or she. I didn't mean to say it. Oops. Yeah.
Well, we're going to play our last song from you, which is the title track from the new album, Faint Not. Could you tell us a little bit about what it went into that song? And I'd also like to know about the music video, which was filmed during a snowstorm, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
That was great. Well, do you want me to go, Jenny, or you want to?
Yeah, you can talk about the song.
Faint Not's about not fainting in regards to justice. Not letting it just be a having justice. When I say justice, I mean like defending the rights of people who can't defend themselves, and being a voice for people, and giving your time and your money and your energy and your talents toward the good of man in some respect. There are a lot of amazing organizations out there, thousands of organizations doing great work, and it's just about not letting that be a phase in your life, but really being living a life of justice because God is really passionate about justice. God defends the rights of the poor, and God hears the call of the needy, hears the prayers of the needy, and He wants us to love people the way that He loves people. So that's what it's about. It's just don't faint in regards to justice.
In the video, we met this guy Nathaniel Schweinberg. He hosted a house show for us in Florida, and then he moved to Nashville, and we were hanging out a lot, and he's a great cinematographer, so we told him we wanted to make a video for Faint Not, and so we had this idea, of like running through the city, and he'd been touring with us, so putting some of our tour footage up, and then a week before we had scheduled to shoot the video, they forecasted for a whole bunch of snow to hit Nashville.
Actually right.
They were right, and it's Nashville. Nashville doesn't get snow.
No.
So they were calling for snow to start at midnight. So we went out at like 11:30, and then we just did the shoot.
Not one snowflake on the ground when we
started. And then the snow started falling, and we shot between like 11 and 3:30, and there were like 3 or 4 inches on the ground by the end. And it was just cool because like the video is so much better with the snow. Like it wouldn't have been very good without the snow. And it was just a fun experience too. I mean, we got so cold. We would take breaks and go sit in the sit in the car and turn the heat on, and then we would like kind of melt and then go back outside, and our hair would freeze again. And
yeah, you can see some snot from my nose that's running in a few shots if you really look carefully, because we were pretty darn cold.
Yeah, but it was so fun. It was really cool.
Not a gun, not a color, not $100 bill. We think the struggle can be won with simple thoughts like come together, be goodwill. The gap between the rich and poor is spreading out all the more, so they say we ignore the claims. Oh my soul, faint not, no, faint not. Oh my soul, keep up, in love, faint not. Have the tools to go to break this yoke of slavery. We quit because it's not an easy fix, and then forget that they are even there. We forget to care. Oh my soul, faint not, no. Keep
Well, if our listeners want to find out more about your music or connect with you, how can they do that?
Our website is jennyandtyler.com. Jenny is Jenny, and is spelled out.
AND.
Yeah. If you Google us, it's like the first thing that pops up.
Yeah.
And we're on Facebook, Jenny and Tyler.
Twitter, Jenny and Tyler. If you go to our website, you can go to jennyandtyler.com/free and get a 7-song acoustic album for free. If you join our mailing list, and we basically just keep in touch once every few months and let you know what we're doing. Yeah, we've got some, the new record is planning on being released in the spring.
Well, thanks very much for taking your time out of your day.
Thank you.
Concert tonight.
It's our pleasure.
This is awesome.
Thanks for having us, man.
We hope you've been enjoying the Lancast.
This episode was produced by myself, David Moulton, with show notes by Lauren Slesser.
All pertinent links to this episode can be found in the show notes at thelancast.com.
If you specifically liked this episode, we ask that you consider making a donation.
Every little bit helps. Even $1 a show can keep us going.
If you would like to help support us in that way, you can visit thelancast.com/donate.
And don't forget to subscribe on iTunes and tell a friend about the show.
So, for the Lancast, I'm David Moulton.
And I'm Becky Svensson.
Asking, are you in the cast?